First, I want to set the record straight. The reason we are here talking about the 26 budget is not because of the House of Representatives. We passed 12 appropriation, this body passed 12 appropriation bills before the end of the year, and then sent it to the Senate. The Senate was unable to do their job because we couldn't find 7 Democrats in the Senate that would vote to overcome the cloture rule of needing 60 votes in the Senate to pass a bill. That's why DHS is unfunded. Not because of this body. We passed a bipartisan bill across the House floor to fund you all and the men and women that work for you, and to protect this country, particularly looking at the upcoming year with FIFA, the American 250 celebrations are going to be going on. All of these events that you all are going to be responsible for protecting us from, along with Secret Service, TSA, Coast Guard, the whole DHS. So I want to make sure we understand that that's where the responsibility for this lies, is in the Senate. And I call on Senator Thune to jettison that 60-vote cloture rule and just take up our appropriations bill and vote it across with a simple majority. That's what we need to do. We need to quit playing this filibuster game that they play over there in the Senate. They could have passed what we passed here, which was a bipartisan appropriation bill. In fact, we passed it 4 times. Now, the idea that we're going to leverage public safety and defund ICE and CBP and TSA and others so that we can negotiate on ICE policy and procedures is atrocious to me as a former law enforcement officer. Now, one thing that I am very happy about, Mr. Lyons, I know you all have gone full bore into the 287G program, and I want to make this point. 287G, which I ran when I had I not only had the police side of the organization, but I had the corrections side. We had a great jail enforcement program under 287G. We safely took individuals off of our streets and handed them over to ICE for deportation in Jacksonville, Florida. It's a great program. So we didn't have to have ICE officers out in the community being confronted by not the illegal immigrants that they're going after, but by these paid provocateurs. I don't even call them protesters. They're paid provocateurs. They're going out there and causing all this disruption. 39 states you guys are in now. It's over 1,600 agencies that are working with you. And guess what? No violence problems in those areas. And so I want to make that point that this is a great program. In fact, one of your predecessors actually said it was the best thing since sliced bread. So my question is, I want to make sure that we have the funding that we need to continue ICE 287G processes. Can you talk a little bit about that? And what do you think you're going to need in 27?
Well, sir, first off, I just want to say thank you for recognizing the 287G program, because like you said, it is a force multiplier. And we would much rather have individuals arrested, detained, taken into custody inside a safe, secure location with the help of our federal partners. And the jail enforcement model does exactly that. So for under appropriations with OB3 funding, we had approximately $1.1 billion for 287G. A lot of that does go for staffing, right? We're able to assist a lot of the smaller jurisdictions, smaller municipalities and sheriffs that have budget shortfalls in their area. We can provide them with overtime funding for new officers, as well as vehicles and equipment, which is a huge piece of that partnership, is the fact that since they are taking the steps to work with ICE and help us work in the community, that we're going to make sure that they're whole as well. So we've been able to do that. For the obligated for year to date, we're at $305 million now. So we are doing good for 287G. But one thing really sort of highlights the fact that we're up over 1,088% increased MOUs that have been signed with local jurisdictions. And if we've learned anything, it's that the cooperation with state and local agencies is a game changer. To your point, locations that don't have any protests or problems, it's because we have the local cooperation. We don't have to be on the street. They're out there in the jails.
Absolutely, thank you. And I want to follow up on that with the idea of the detention facilities. I want to know what the mix is between facility and permanent structures that we're building and scalable, what I think is a scalable program that y'all have, which is accessing local jails and state prisons for these folks to house them instead of building big permanent structures, because we're not always going to have this problem. Eventually, we will deport the majority of the illegals, and we'll get back to normal needs. And so I think it's more important that we have something that's scalable versus building a big infrastructure that to take care of the millions and millions of illegals that we now have in the country. Once we've gotten rid of them, deported them, we need something scalable, I think. And so can you tell me what the mix is on that, and where do you see this going in the future?
Yes, sir. Well, the very first thing on that is the beginning of your statement was the fact that we rely heavily upon our sheriffs and local jurisdictions that do support us in those cooperative areas. So we're going to continue to keep those 287G partners to include intergovernmental agency agreements with them. The reason for the larger scale of infrastructure for the detention was the fact that there are so many jurisdictions, like in New York and New Jersey, we don't have any partnerships. And it's not because local leadership doesn't want to engage with ICE, it's the fact that a lot of times by state law, they're not allowed to work with us. The new facilities that are being built are actually scalable.
So these are sanctuary states?
Yes, sir. So the new facilities that are being built are actually scalable. They're not fixed. We have the ability to bring them down or bring them back up dependent on the action. But when I was here testifying last year, one of the commitments I had was to reduce the footprint when it came to the amount of exorbitant contracts that we have out there right now with a lot of our private facilities. And what we're looking for is a more sensible approach when it comes to being self-sufficient and being able to control our own standards within that, but control the price point. And unfortunately, a lot of the smaller sheriffs, I'm sure someone told you, to come up to ICE standard, it's just too expensive for them to retrofit their facilities that were built in the 80s and 90s. So through the larger program, we're going to be able to scale those down based on what the actual needs are.
Okay, and those dollars are the reconciliation dollars. Are they being used for this program as well?
We use the reconciliation OB3 funding for the initial front load startup. But then for what we're asking for in FY27 is be funded for 41,500 beds. And that we'll be able to scale up and down with the detention facilities.
Okay. And we're keeping up with ADP, average daily population needs now?
Yes, sir. Okay. So we're actually in a surplus right now because our partners at the Department of State have been really helpful with us on expediting removals, especially when it comes to recalcitrant countries where we have problems with travel documents. So our removal process and our increase in our removal proceedings have led to that no longer having a shortfall in beds, but having a stockpile.
Thank you. And if I could, very briefly, Mr. Edlow, USCIS, back in October, we had delays in getting H-2A workers into the country. And we had crops that were literally being turned under in the field because we didn't have people to pick them. And I know that was a labor backup because of the shutdown, and then that backed you up. And have we resolved that now, the backlog?
Congressman, excuse me, I'm not aware of any backlog at USCIS with regard to H-2A. My understanding is processing time remains around 5 to 7 days. Once we get the information from labor and the application is filed with us, we turn it around within 5 to 7 days. If you're hearing something else, please let me know, and we'd love to work with you on it.
Okay, thank you. I'll get with you. With that, Mr. Chairman, I yield back.